What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of Flow Vice with yours truly. And to get right into it, today we're going to be talking about what poetry is. We're going to be talking about people and patterns and how they coincide with each other. We're going to be talking about how to please, right? So, to get right into it, we're going to talk about poetry and what that is, right? So, poetry, as we know it with language, is utilizing the musical qualities of language and the musical qualities of speech because it's all sound vibrations, right? So it all has all sound has musical quality. It's all about the organization of it, the order of it, or the lack of order, right? But if you try to take the lack of it away, we don't really recognize it as poetry. But that's called prose poetry. Anyways, breaking down poetry to understand what's going on, you have to understand a couple concepts. You have to understand tension, right? Tension is part of poetry and the relief of the tension in poetry. So I'm going to show you something I wrote yesterday. I'm going to show you on this beat, and then I'm going to explain it to you. Yo, we on the fence like a picket descended from the exquisite. Now entertain me a minute while I'm obtaining the rhythm. I live it with dreams vivid, explaining the river of living. I'm taking and drinking, let my vision sink in. So there's bars after that, right? And it just so happened it I relieved the tension of my verse right when they relieved the tension of the beat. So that's a perfect example. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Now the way I did it, I waited extra long because if I don't know if you noticed, but it was like a run-on screen, a scheme of syllables, right? And I'm gonna explain to you why I did that. Because in poetry, yes, in order to please, you need to operate on a proper pattern uh, recognition and understanding the way people react to patterns. Because patterns, like I said in my video yesterday, we operate on patterns. Everything is patterns. At the grocery store, when you see all the same items organized on a shelf, it pleases us. There's an expectation being fulfilled. We don't like not knowing. That's why people love shit like Where's Waldo. When you find it, there's a dopamine push because we get satisfaction from patterns. You understand what I'm saying? So what I did right there, I was like basically, when you're in traffic and somebody in front of you is taking forever to turn, but you saw they had mad opportunities to turn, right? And they finally fucking turn, you like, fuck, god damn, thank God. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did right here. I had plenty of opportunities to relieve that tension, how people usually and typically do. You understand what I'm saying? But I waited because, in theory, right? I waited so long that when I relieved it, it made sense to y'all. It made sense to everybody, whether they know it or not. It was like, oh, fuck, finally it stopped. And then you start another one. I didn't go so far with the rest of my little chunks in my verse. You know what I'm saying? It's all to understand relieving tension and to manipulate, not in a toxic way, but manipulate the psychology of people and understanding that they need satisfaction because you create an expectation. And if you don't fulfill that expectation, that's when people are like, fuck, you're not very good at this. So there's that. Tension relief is poetry. Poetry is patterns, right? And understand the way patterns work. So talking about another kind of pattern, you have two technical terms that I want to talk about from poetry: assonance and consonance. Consonance is when you rhyme, like what I was talking about accents, like in the beginning of every first bar, you have the same the, thigh, tho, thumb, thick, you know what I'm saying? A repetition of that, repeating throughout, rhyming with consonants, with non-vowel sounds, or it could be with vowel sounds, but it has a similar, the same, like B sound, and I have an example of that. And you have assonance, which is the repetition of vowel sounds to create an expectation of that scheme and then to fulfill it and to put it in a pattern that creates a rhythm in itself. Because you could create music with going a cappella with just your voice alone. I'm sorry I keep looking away, but I visualize what I'm talking about. So I have two examples from two geniuses, two lyrical geniuses. Eminem, Lose Yourself, which is one of the most iconic, legendary uh, lyrical, poetic masterpieces ever, ever. Kendrick Lamar, Fear. I'm gonna show you uh, how he uses consonants. He uses both, but there's consonants in this, right? So to start off, consonants, Kendrick Lamar, Fear. I beat your ass, keep talking back. I beat your ass, who bought you that? You stole it, I beat your ass if you say that game is broken. I beat your ass if you jump on that couch. I beat your ass if you walk in this house with tears in your eyes. Continue. So I beat your ass. I beat, I beat. He creates an expectation. It's a very simple concept. I beat your ass, but the way that he puts it together, it's creating an expectation. It's fulfilling it to relieve people, and it's kind of it's emotionally responsive material too. You know what I'm saying? So to see recognize the genius of somebody that's controlling your emotional state, and at the same time using technicalities from poetry, it's just it's a testament to his skill as an MC, and you're gonna want to pay attention to things like that. Eminem, right here, "Lose Yourself." Like I said, one of the most iconic lyrical masterpieces of all time. Assonance, right, with the vowels. I'm gonna show you how many times he hits it. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. Right there in that first line. I'm not even sure that that's the whole first bar. He hits palms are already rhymed, sweaty, knees weak is playing off in the end of sweaty, arms goes back to right here, are his back up there heavy. Every single word except for his is being hit within the first sentence, but he gets his in the next one, so that whole sentence matches in syllables and rhyming. He's created such a complex pattern that people think it's easy, but try to do that and tell a vivid story like he does. Good luck. You could do it, but you gotta work how he works. There's vomit on his sweater already. He already hit his. There's vomit on his. Two things that rhyme right next to each other. Sweater already. Mom's. He hit sweaty already. Mom's palms and arms already. Spaghetti. Just he's nervous. And then he's just kind of playing off of spaghetti right there because of the vowels. This is the assonance at its finest. Nervous, but on the surface. Boom. He hit that shit again, and on the is gonna to the ear ring just like on his. You understand what I'm saying? To drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting. It's just a continual repetition and tension and release going on at such a rate that it's captivating to people, right? So you're gonna want to pay attention to that. Now that you know what that is, what's going on, the structure of patterns and people, right? So those are two examples right there. I give you my example of building up tension. You know what I'm saying? And then releasing it. And releasing is when you let go, because like if you didn't understand what I was talking about yesterday, I was talking about the patterns of life and shit, right? So you have your ups and your downs, right? So basically how that coincides with the music and how music mimics that rhythm of life is because in the beat, the only reason you hear the instruments is because the pauses that don't have that instrument in it. You understand what I'm saying? Expectation. Alright. So that's how it all works. There's the absence of the drummer, the absence of the snare at different times, and one is taking over while the other one is not visible, sonically or audio wise, right? So that's what it all is. It's all patterns. And now that you understand that, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to take these things into consideration when you're writing. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people there's a lot of fluff, and I do it sometimes too. But to get to the point where every single thing inside of your rhymes is there for a reason that you're gonna write shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? What I was doing here, I was doing it so that it flowed, but I'm still telling a story. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about look, I make my shit kind of confusing on purpose because I like to be thought provoking. We on the fence like a picket, descended from the exquisite. Right there, there's deeper meaning behind that. We on the fence like a picket because in my opinion, we are right on the line as human beings. We're a little bit different from the other creatures. We on the fence, right? So like in between the spiritual and the in the non-spiritual world. We walk that line. We on the fence like a picket, descended from the exquisite. We're created in the image of God, right? Or if you see that as literal or metaphorical, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's both one and the same because, what is creation and destruction? It's one and the same. You know what I'm saying? We mimic that. We mimic that as human beings. We create things and we destroy things. We are descended from the exquisite. Now entertain me a minute while I'm obtaining the rhythm. I live it with dreams vivid, explaining the river of living. I'm taking a drink and let my vision sink in. Then I pause. But what was talking about while I was doing that technicality was, let me tap in. Let me show you what I'm talking about in my videos. Now entertain me a minute to obtain the rhythm. I live it with dreams vivid, explaining the river of living. I'm taking a drink and let my vision sink in. Right? Talking about my connection to that rhythm of life to flow. You know what I'm saying? And in a poetic way, a way that's not common to say. And that's what you're gonna want to do, man. You want to understand that and understand what's going on. This isn't some, real simple thing. This is poetry has been around for a long time for a reason. It's a big part of society. It's a big part of human beings, and poetry is everywhere. Poetry is the way that you live. Putting it like this is something we enjoy because it's an example that we can sense. Anyways, episode 7 of Flow Vice with yours truly. Thanks for sticking with me, the people that have stuck with me, and I can't wait to see how y'all improve, man. So it's exciting for me. So y'all have a good one. Take it easy, man.